Over the last decade, dozens of Confederate monuments across the American South have been removed from public spaces. These statues once lined prominent boulevards, stood in city parks, and overlooked state houses. But where are they now? In this video, we'll explore the historical timeline of several major Confederate statues, from their original installations to their removals, and what became of them. From Charlottesville to Richmond and beyond, where did the Confederate statues go? One of the most prominent Confederate statues was that of Jefferson Davis, the President of the Confederate States of America. The monument stood on Monument Avenue in Richmond, Virginia, and was unveiled on June 3, 1907, the 99th anniversary of Davis's birth. It featured Davis atop a column structure surrounded by allegorical figures and inscriptions. On June 10, 2020, during a wave of statue removals across the U.S., protesters toppled the Jefferson Davis statue. The pedestal and surrounding structure were later removed by city officials, along with a time capsule that was opened out of the public view. The statue was taken into city custody and, after a brief time on display, was placed in storage. As of 2023, it remains in an unknown location and awaiting a final determination as to its fate. The Robert E. Lee Monument in Richmond was arguably the most iconic Confederate statue in Virginia. Dedicated on May 29, 1890, the 60-foot monument featured Lee atop his horse, Traveler, and was installed before the rest of Monument Avenue was even completed. It became a symbol of both state heritage and, later, public controversy. After years of debate, Virginia Governor Ralph Northam announced its removal in June 2020. Legal delays postponed the process, but on September 8, 2021, the statue was officially removed. The Lee statue was dismantled and placed in storage. In 2023, Governor Glenn Youngkin's administration agreed to transfer the statue and pedestal to the Black History Museum and Cultural Center of Virginia and the Valentine Museum. Future plans for public display or reinterpretation are still pending. Statues of Thomas Stonewall Jackson were also removed in both Richmond and Charlottesville. The Richmond statue was installed on October 11, 1919, and stood on Monument Avenue until July 1, 2020, when the city removed it during widespread removals of Confederate imagery. In Charlottesville, the Jackson statue was unveiled in 1921 and stood in what was once known as Jackson Park. On July 10, 2021, it was removed along with Charlottesville's Robert E. Lee statue. The statue was transferred to the Jefferson School African American Heritage Center and melted down in 2023 to be repurposed as new public art. In Richmond, the Jackson statue was removed to city storage. Its future and exact location are unknown. The statue of Confederate Cavalry General Jeb Stuart was installed on May 30, 1907, also along Monument Avenue in Richmond. It was removed by city crews on July 7, 2020, just days after the Stonewall Jackson statue was taken down. Like the other Richmond statues, Stuart is being held in an unknown storage facility. In 2021, the Richmond City Council approved the transfer of these statues to local museums and organizations for preservation or reinterpretation, but the statue's current status or location is unknown. Beyond the major figures in Richmond and Charlottesville, several other Confederate statues have been removed across Virginia in recent years. In Norfolk, a statue known as the Johnny Reb was removed from Commercial Place in June 2020 after numerous instances of vandalism. And then, in December of 2020, Cruise with the City completed the relocation of the 1907 structure to Elmwood Cemetery. In Portsmouth, a Confederate monument was removed in July 2020 after protesters beheaded and damaged parts of the statue. Unfortunately for one of the protesters, in the only known instance of a statue actually harming someone, the statue toppled after being yanked and hammered from its pedestal, striking a protester in the head, causing major brain and physical injuries. And in Alexandria, a statue of a Confederate soldier titled Appomattox, erected in 1889, was removed on June 2, 2020, after vandalism and protests. While many of these statues were removed between 2020 and 2021, decisions about their long-term fate are ongoing. Options proposed include transfer to museums or historical centers, concepts for artistic repurposing, indefinite storage without public access, inclusion in educational exhibits, or returning the statues to their original locations. As of 2024, some statues have already been melted down or donated to cultural institutions, while others remain in city warehouses, waiting for future decisions. While a majority of Americans support efforts to preserve these and other monuments, government officials, partisan organizations, and those determined to divide us have weaponized these works of art in an effort to further the infighting amongst fellow Americans. Be sure to let us know what you think should happen with the remaining monuments in the comments below.
If you enjoyed today's video and would like to see more content like this, be sure to take a shot at the like button, subscribe, and ring that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest BirdDogg content. And if you'd like to support the channel, for a limited time there's exclusive Civil War Diaries merchandise available in the video link below.